Hello, hey everyone. Knocked my camera on sideways a little bit. Let me fix that. It's fine. No, I should be correct. Okay, cool, we're good. Anyway, hi, hello, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Uh, hey, I'm good. How are you? Um, I am alive. I made it to today. I'm excited to stream tabletop stuff. And I'm glad that you're here. How are you doing? Um, I think this is going to be an interesting stream, and if you're sticking around, I'm excited to hear what you think about it. Um, Tired, had to get up early today. Getting up is truly the worst part of any day, so I feel you. But glad you made it nonetheless. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, so I think I want to. I'm gonna give a little background, because I know you're watching, Quinny. And I usually give background at the beginning of these streams anyway, in case someone new is watching. But the summary of what's going on here is that I'm a big tabletop role-playing game player. I'm also a big game designer. And this is a tabletop system that I have been working on with a friend of mine, Tristan. I'm Ben, obviously. I don't know if I said my name also, but hello, I'm Ben. Thanks for coming to the stream if you're here. Um, and this is a game that we started making several years ago now, um, and is very far along in its development. Um, and I'm currently iterating on it, editing it, um, responding to feedback on it, and trying to get closer to a final-ish version of it. Not that I'm going to like publish it or anything, but yeah. Anyway, so the system is it's in a I don't know what your level of familiarity with tabletop games is, um, but the type of system is based on earlier versions of D&D. It's in a genre of systems called OSR, which stands for Old School Renaissance. Um, and the biggest difference between earlier versions of D&D and later versions of D&D is earlier versions of D&D are more like dungeon crawlery, less narrative focused, um, more like high fatality sort of systems. Um, so yeah, that's sort of the vibe. So it looks fairly different than like fifth edition, um, and other more modern narrative games. Um, yeah. So with with that in mind, what we're trying to do today is this is all going to be in a Google Doc. So it's next to none when it came to D&D. I played one game about 13 years ago. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I was kind of expecting you seemed interested in it, so I was thinking maybe you were familiar. Um, but yeah, that's fair. A lot of people just don't have the opportunity or just end up not playing. Maybe they're not interested for whatever reason. That's fine. Um, yeah. Um, but yeah, it is similar to D&D. Um, it has a lot of the same bases, and yeah, I'll avoid from going into too much grit right now. But if you have any questions about what's going on or how it works, I'd be happy to explain. Um, so anyway, I've got this to-do list here. I'm big into Warhammer and interested in D&D, but have no one to play with. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the hardest part about playing tabletop role-playing games is one, having friends, and and two, coordinating with your friends on how to play those games. Um, Warhammer is cool though. Cool. So you're familiar with stuff in the tabletop space. That's good because I fear this stream it might get into like some tabletop math, some crunch a little bit. I don't want you to be bored and scare you away, you know? But I will continue streaming this nonetheless. Oh yeah, the reason I'm streaming this is because well, the main reason is to motivate me to work on the system because I kind of had stopped because it's pretty much done. Um, but also it just seemed like a kind of interesting thing to stream, and I didn't see a ton of people streaming similar stuff. So hopefully someone finds it interesting. I do. Anyway, what we're doing today is if we look at this to-do list, um, things that I've done on stream in the past are we went over the spells a lot and sort of reformatted the tables, and which is this one. And we sort of rebalanced some of them. Hills Path, also I'm painting minis while watching. Yes, okay, cool. You said you would be painting. Excellent. I remember. Um, I rewrote a section / wrote a section on magic items and research, and now we are on this big bold underlined section, which is just titled Summon. So I got to give a little more context here. So this system was originally based on another system, which is called Lamentations of the Flame Princess. And I've got I've got the PDF here. We'll be referencing it a little bit. So this is like a real, actual published system. But since this is my own system, well, originally it was using a lot of stuff that like referenced Lamentations directly, but as it's grown, it's diverged from it a lot. And I'm trying to remove all vestiges of Lamentations from it so that you don't need to reference that original source book, someone else's system, to play this game. And one of the last big things in Lamentations that is in this system is this spell, Summon. Summon is a really cool spell. It's one of the coolest parts of Lamentations. And it's a spell for summoning, like, summoning a monster, a demon, an entity from another dimension. And the cool thing about it is that you can't really control what you summon, other than approximately how strong you want it to be. So in the Lamentations book, it's this like 12-page ordeal, or 10 pages. I don't know. It's pretty long. So I've been putting off rewriting it because it's a lot of work, basically, and a lot of tables. So we go back to our document. I started rewriting it last stream, and what I was doing was I didn't completely rewrite it from scratch because I like the spell a lot and I wanted to keep what makes it cool. But I was modifying the tables a lot and trying to make them better, enough that I would feel comfortable having it in my system as like my own thing, and not just telling people to go look in the Lamentations book for it. The old Warhammer spell fuck up spreadsheet. I don't think I'm familiar, but probably there are other systems. I don't know about examples in Warhammer because I don't know a ton about wargaming, but I know there are other systems that have like famously complicated mechanics that sometimes people like grenade bouncing or whatever comes to mind. But yeah, but this is a really cool complicated thing, at least for me, because I really like I like wacky stuff in my tabletop games. I like rolling on tables. So yeah. Anyway, it was one of the things that drew me to this system originally. Um, yeah. So yeah. So I ended up rewriting a lot of it, or some of it at least. but there's still a fair amount to go. And approaching it today with like fresh eyes, I was getting kind of tired at the end of the last time I did this because it's kind of draining, to be honest. But looking at it with fresh eyes, I had some new ideas about what I wanted to do. So for your sake and also my sake, I will summarize what we have so far, hopefully in a parsable way. Yeah. Okay. Let's just read through what we have here, and this will actually be a good test to see if it makes sense. Okay. Back in an old edition of Warhammer 40k, when you failed the spell throws, you would roll a d100 and get a random punishment, which could do anything from exploding your spellcaster or turning him into a demon kind creature. Yes. Yes. Kind of like that. It is kind of like that. Except it's like several tables. There are more than 100 options for sure. But yeah, one of the things that I really like about this system is I love stuff like that, so that's awesome. I think. I have some cool miscast stuff in this system, which I'll just hop around in the document and show you some of the tables. Um, you know, yeah, yes, even more chaos, which I love. Um, but these are some miscast tables that I wrote, or Tristan also wrote, for various types of spells and stuff. So I love that kind of thing. Yeah. Um, okay, but I won't get too distracted. Surely I will work on summon today. Um, let's get back here. Okay, yeah. So I think actually if I read through what I have, that will be a good test, especially with my fresh eyes, your fresh eyes, if you happen to be listening, no pressure to see if it makes sense. What we have so far. Okay. So starting here, the spell is summon. The type of spell it is chaotic, which mostly just factors into the miscast type that you get if it miscasts. The duration of the spell, if the player wins, is their margin of victory, which will be explained in the spell, times d10 rounds, and same if the creature wins, except the minimum is the hit die of the creature. Range is 10 feet. And we're skipping this because this is what used to be here. Okay. All magic originates in a chaotic swirl and is pulled into our own dimension through discipline and technique honed through years of practice. Not all magic is formless. Many things live in that chaotic swirl, and they can also be pulled through and bent to the control of the caster. Much like any other spell, that control can, and often will be, wrested away. Once summon is cast, there are a number of steps to resolve. 1. The caster chooses the intended hit die of the summon. And if you're not familiar with what a hit die is, it's basically like the level of the monster. 2, caster makes a saving throw versus chaos. And let me know if you need any term clarification. 3, the GM will randomly determine the creature's form. 4, the GM will randomly determine the creature's powers. 5, the creature and the caster will make a domination roll to determine who is in control. That's sort of the intended flow. So first, the caster must decide how powerful a creature in hit dice they will attempt to summon. This cannot be more than 2 times the character's caster level. And then I have this part highlighted because I want to come back to it. But this effective level for its purpose can be modified by thaumaturgy circles and sacrifices see below. In the original spell, you can like sacrifice living beings or draw like summoning circles to make it easier. And I haven't decided if I want to keep that or not. It is kind of cool, but it is like extra stuff. I don't know. That's why it's highlighted. I'm going to come back to it. Okay. Step 2. The caster must make a saving throw versus chaos. Failing this save indicates the caster's control over the spell has slipped. A more powerful creature than intended might come through. This is usually bad. Uh-huh. I think it's a cool idea. Cool. Step 3. The creature's form and powers will be randomly determined on the following tables, with different results altering the creature's basic stats. And then there's some default stats, which might not mean a lot for you if you're not super familiar with D&D, but AC 12, 1 attack for 1d6 damage, normal movement. Okay. To determine the creature's basic form, roll 1d20 if the original casting save was made, 1d30 if it was not. So this is the first table that I modified. Oh, and I guess I can get rid of some of my scratch here. But yeah, anyway, so you roll to determine the form. There's this table. It has results like amoeba, canine, crab that give it different things. And then you roll a higher dice if you fail your save, which lets you have the possibility of rolling scarier / more dangerous forms, like fire or whatever. That's the summary of that table. Okay, and then the last thing we did last time was this next section on cosmetic features. So after you determine the form, yeah, I'll just read this. The base hit die of the creature that the caster summoned will determine the dice that it will determine its number of features. So there's this table here where you have the number of hit die of the thing you summoned, and then a die to roll. Roll the indicator die type. This is the number of features that creature will have. For each feature, roll twice on the following table. Once for an adjective describing the feature, and once for the feature itself. These features are purely cosmetic. So this bit is a way to give the DM and player's imagination something to work with. It's in the original spell. In the original spell, there's something like this. That works in a slightly more complicated way, and I wanted to make it a little bit simpler. But yeah, so in practice, you're summoning a 1-hit die monster, you roll a 1d2 to determine how many features it has, you can get a 1, so you roll twice on this table, and you just say it has a humming tail, and then the GM incorporates that into the what the monster looks like. So yeah, it's just kind of adding to the wackiness. Okay, so that's where we're at. And you can see that it's based on the original. This is the forms table. This is the features table. So the next thing is that the creature gets powers, which is step 4. Yeah, step 4 in our 5-step process. So in the original spell, the way that they determine how many powers that the creature has is the same way that they determine how many cosmetic features the creature has. But the way that they do it in this spell, while kind of cool, I think is kind of unnecessarily complicated, and also it's hard to, for me at least, I am not smart enough to model statistically the results of it, so I'm not exactly sure how many powers every hit die of monster will have, and I don't really like that. So I'll read how they do it. This is what I was looking at before the stream, and I started trying to do math, and then I almost got distracted and started the stream late. Um, but okay. So in the original spell, to determine the number of powers that a creature has, use the base hit dice of the creature the caster wishes to summon to determine which die type to use according to the following table. Um, roll the indicated die type. This is the base number. If the initial saving throw is successful, then roll that die again. If the initial saving throw is successful, the entity has a special power if the second roll is less than the base number. And roll again and keep adding special powers until a new roll greater than or equal to the previous roll is made. If the saving throw is failed, I'm going to summarize this after. A new power is gained on a roll less than or equal to the base number, so the creature will have a greater chance to have more powers than if the casting was controlled. If one was rolled, however, no further rolls can be made. So, if that was difficult to parse, and it was for me, and I've read it about 20 times probably, that's the problem that I have with it currently. This spell is complicated enough that people build online tools to cast it for you. So I think if we can mitigate that a little bit, it would probably be for the best. I want to keep the wackiness of it and the complexity, but I was thinking, looking at this before the stream started, that I think we can do better, or at least hopefully something that's more intuitive. So yeah, so what I did last time for the cosmetic features was this table where based on the level of the monster that you summon, like you roll this dice to determine the level of features, right? Which I thought was an okay solution at the time, and it's simpler than whatever I just read with the base number and the target number. But the problem with this is that I do think it is pretty that the cosmetic features that in the original spell, the cosmetic features and the powers use the same method to determine how many of them that they get, that the monster gets, and I would like to maintain that. But the way that I did this here, I think the creatures would end up with too many powers. So, okay. Now that the stream's been happening for about 25 minutes already, I think I have sufficiently filled you in on the background and what we've already done. So now we get to talk about what we're actually doing. Isn't this fun? Thanks for coming. Don't be scared away. I'm gonna work in this scratch space on my to-do document here. I think the way that we should approach this is we should determine what we want our results to look like. How many powers per hit die. And then once we know what we want that curve to look like, we should write a hopefully easy way to generate that curve with dice. So the base goal is to make it easier to understand while keeping it balanced. Yeah, for this part in particular, yes. Because I think that the way that they are doing this part to determine the number of cosmetic features and powers is difficult to do in practice. So I want to make this part easier. Yeah, that is less of a concern in other parts of the spell, but this part in particular is very dense. Yeah, I mean, part of the charm of the spell is that it's like horrifying. But yeah, trying to not scare people away would be solid. But yes, that's right. Um, and balanced, subjective. The results can be a little wacky because that's kind of the point. Is that it gets wacky, but balanced in the sense that I want it to maintain the same vibe of wackiness for sure. Okay, so yeah, so we should determine what we want our results to look like, and then based on that, we should make our curve. And then I'll just backport that to the number of features, which I think is fine, because I think they should use the same system, like I was saying. Okay. So I'm gonna make a little table. And just for ease of thinking about this, and this is where we get to do game design and decide what we want. So this is going to be our goal of if we have a creature of a certain hit die, we can make this smaller. Doesn't need to be that big. How many powers do we think it should have? And we should keep in mind that, so this is back to the looking at the original spell. This list of 100 powers is will change in our version, at least a bit, but it'll be similar. These powers are pretty strong in general. For example, adding 1d10 AC or 1d6 AC is a pretty significant power increase for the monster. Being immune to things, obviously, is a power increase. Being able to cast like some of these spells at will. There are a couple of things in here that are negatives for the monster, but there are only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So they're very much in the minority. So that's what we should keep in mind. Is that they're strong, and so how many, or that's what I'm thinking about when I'm trying to determine how many powers I would want monsters of certain levels to have. And I guess if you are not familiar with super familiar with tabletop role-playing games, I can explain approximately what hit die of monsters would be like in play. But like typically hit die like 0 through 2 is something like pretty weak. Things like animals, like normal animals, like goats or whatever, are hit die 0. Random non-classed humans are hit die 0. Hit die 1 are things like wolves and goblins and shit. Hit die 2 are like the alpha version of those things. And then try to think of good examples for the other hit die. And then it basically just continues to scale up. So generally hit die 0 to 2 are pretty weak. Die 3 to 5 are sort of like more powerful monsters that could threaten parties. And then anything above hit die 6 is typically very powerful. So yeah. So with that sort of like rough power scaling in mind, it feels like we would want something like we want creatures at low hit die to probably not have powers very frequently. Um, we're just spitballing here. And then as the hit die increases out of this range, it should be more likely that they get stuff. Um, so this table is sort of meaningless on our own, but we're trying to use it to inform what we want to write for what we determine how many powers a monster of a certain hit die will get. Um, so and something that I want to maintain is that let's write this down. In the original spell, there's a small chance that this number can be higher than expected. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Shit. The original spell, there's a small chance the number will be higher than expected. I'll just say in the way I was thinking about doing this here is with exploding dice. If you're not familiar with what an exploding dice is, and I think you might be from wargaming, it's basically that if you roll the maximum value on a dice, you roll it again and add the result, which is a really cool thing to make dice rolls wacky. I don't know how that would factor in here, but it was just something that came to mind. That would be one way we could simulate that. Okay. Now we have to think. And what we should be thinking about is how we translate this hit die number to our output. And the approximate thing here is that I've written in my table seems to be that like for every hit die, the average number of powers that the monster gets goes up by 0.25, which seems reasonable-ish. So maybe we could do this in a fun way. Oh well, we certainly can. Hmm. Okay. I've got a wacky idea. So 0.25 makes me think of D4s. Um, this might be insane, but I'm just gonna spitball it. For every hit die of the intended summon, roll a D4. If the result of that die roll is a 4, the creature gains a power. Hmm. If the result is a... Oh no. I was going to say, if the result is a 1, re-roll the die, but that basically just shrinks the die to a d3, because you can only get a 2, 3, or 4. I want there to be a way for it to be to get more powers somehow. The result of that die roll is a 4. The creature gains a power. And re-roll that die. Another 4 means the creature will get another power. Hit die 0. Creatures. Roll 1d4 and do not reroll. This is kind of interesting. I like where this is going. I think this is very parsable. Oh, my thing is slipping into my chat bar. I'll scroll down. This is very parsable because it's very clear that for every hit die, there's a 1/4 chance for the creature to gain a power, and then because of the exploding, you reroll the 4s, and if you get a 4 again, you get another power. There's a relatively small chance, 1 in 16 chance per die. It's 1 in 4 chance to get 1 power per die, 1 in 16 to get 2 powers per die, 1 in 64 to get 3 powers per die, which is good. And so that would mean the average would be per 1d4 would be, I'm doing this math on another screen, 1/4 times oh no, hold on, let me write it here. 0.25 chance for 1 power, 1/16th chance for 2 powers, 1/64 chance for 4 powers. And then beyond that, I'm not going to bother to calculate. So that means the odds of getting the expected number of powers per die is 0.25 plus 1/16th times 2 plus 1/64 times 4. I'm going to paste that into Google and see what it is. Oh, I think I need to add parentheses. Ooh, no, that's higher than I thought. Damn. Oh, sorry. 164 chance for 3 powers, so this should be times 3. I don't think that'll affect it too much. No, it did not. .42 powers per hit die. Okay, that's higher than we want, because our goal based on the table that we were spitballing was like 0.25 powers per hit die. So, but I like this direction though. So I think probably what we should do is try it with d6s and see what number we get when we do that math. How are you doing, Quinny? Are you still alive? Sorry, I've gotten lost in the sauce. I told you this may be dense. Um, Lost my train of thought. Okay, don't worry, I'm still here. Cool. I'm basing my whole worth of a person on that. I'm just kidding. I'm not, but I'm glad. Um, it is a weird place to hop in because not only am I halfway through writing this spell, but also like this whole system is just like a whole thing. But okay, I'm gonna go back to it. Um, Damn, what's 1/6? Anyone? Okay, 0.16. Okay, so this is gonna be 1/6 plus uh damn, I can no longer do this math in my head. 1/6 squared. My brain is just toast after 30 days, so I'm not really in the headspace for math, not gonna lie. That's fair. Um I, you know, frequently am not in the headspace for math, especially after, work or whatever I do all day. But that's why the streams are good for me because they make me do it at least for a little bit, and then I can get some progress. Don't worry, the math will end soon once we figure this out, and then we'll go to editing a table. Dun, 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 dun. So again, I'm typing this in another tab. Ooh, that's clean. Same reason why I kind of want to get into streaming to force myself to finish stuff. Yes, yes. I will say, that has been good for me. Um, I like, I personally, um, and I'm just talking about games, like, but historically, I've always had a hard time playing single player games because I like playing games with my friends a lot. At least when they are available to play games with me. Um, and so usually when I get online to play games, I get dragged into whatever multiplayer game my friends are playing. Um, and historically, I have not played a lot of single player games for that reason. Um, but with streaming, I like that I kind of am setting a schedule for myself to make myself play single player games. Because that way I will actually do it. Because I'm also not great at, well, I'm not great at self motivating to play single player games when, there is a potential option to play with my friends also, or even if it's just by myself. Because sometimes you are just like, you know. Um, but yeah, so I like that. Um, and yeah, same thing with the system. I was like, man, I could do the same thing with the RPG stuff, and maybe even people will think it's interesting. Hopefully. And if not, that's okay because I'm gonna just have very bad ADHD, so I'm bad at finishing games because my focus shifts away. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, for sure. It's hard. Um, it can definitely be hard if a game doesn't have your interest. Um, and I can only imagine the ADHD does not help. But I think even non-ADHD people suffer from that a lot. There are like a lot of games have like really crazy stats for like how many people finish them. Like so few people actually reach the end of games of like significant length. Um, so yeah, feel that. But yeah, at least like setting a schedule for me helps for sure. And I think if I ever stopped streaming, I would probably continue to set a schedule for myself and do the same thing, but just not stream it. Because I do want to play these single player games, but um, that can be hard. It can be hard to use your unstructured time for the things you want to use it for. Um, yeah, and I used to work on the system a lot, but then like it got to the point where I'm playing a game in this system right now. Like it's usable, it's playable, and like I've already iterated on it a lot and stuff. So the motivation to like finish it is like is good enough. So having that extra motivation is good. Anyway, I was looking at this for the 1/6 math, and the miracle is that the expected number of powers per hit die is pretty close to what we want. And also, it's wacky. I mean, look at these exponents. It has exponents. That's a sign of wackiness. Um, so this scale is a little higher than our table, but yeah, well, because it would look like this, and I'm just rounding to 0.25. But that's actually like shockingly close to what I said I wanted. Um, so I actually like this a lot. So, okay. So this is my rewritten thing for how many powers a monster gets. If you have the headspace, let me know if you think this is sounds not insane and like something that someone will be able to understand. For every hit die of the intended summon, roll a d6. If the result of that die roll is a 6, that creature gains a power and re-roll that die. Another 6 means the creature will get another power. And re-roll again. Hit die 0 creatures roll 1d6 and do not re-roll. So this is fun because you potentially get to roll a handful of d6s, which is another thing that I love. Um, and if we compare to the original, which is this whole block. I think I like mine better. So I think I'm gonna go with that. It doesn't even require any tables. That's crazy. Um, cool. So I'll also paste it in here for cosmetic features. Let's replace the word power with cosmetic feature. Dun, dun, dun. I used to play background music in these streams when I was, when I was just editing tables, because that was more mindless. And I still kind of feel like background music would be good, but the problem is it distracts me from thinking, and in these ones I actually feel like I need to be thinking about stuff, game design, and numbers sometimes. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try it in the future. So how many powers could it possibly get? Right. Okay. So that's the fun part, right? Um, so and hopefully you can answer this question intuitively. Um, so let me. So the TLDR of this, and I just said it, but like I'll say it again for your benefit, is for every level of the intended summon, you roll a d6, six-sided die. You know that. Um, if you roll a 6, you get a power, and you roll again. Um, and if you roll another 6, you get another power, and you can keep re-rolling. So you roll one die per level. So for a level 1 monster, you're rolling one die. So I think intuitively, hopefully, what you are thinking when you hear that is that there is a 1 in 6 chance to get a power. Um, and then if I roll a 6, I roll again. And if I get a 6, I get another power. So there's a small chance for me to get a second power. And then it can keep going past that, but the numbers get really small, so it's not worth it. So anyway, that's kind of the question I was trying to answer. Um, so the theoretical answer is that you could get a lot of powers, right? If you just keep rolling sixes on the dice that you have. Talking about a creature with just like one level, so you're just rolling one die. But the expected number of powers that you get is per die is that much. Is the math I was just doing off screen. Um, so anyway, expected number is about 0.25 powers per level. But there is a small chance that you could get greater than that. And obviously the minimum number of powers you will have is 1. Yeah, so basically infinite but highly unrealistic because of lower and lower chance. Yes, that is the short answer to your to your question. Um, and that's what I wanted to preserve. That the original spell has the same thing. Um, it's just done in a way that I think is harder to understand. But they also have a small chance of like you keep rolling. Um, yeah. So that's the idea. And actually, thinking about that, cool. I remember thinking about that and looking back at the original spell. You made me remember something else that I wanted to do, which is that in the original spell, we want, in the original spell, early on in the spell, you make a save um, to see if the spell is going well or poorly, basically. Um, and that plays into how strong the monster is. And if it goes poorly, the monster gets stronger than you intend. So we haven't factored that into this version, but we want, if you fail to save for the monster, to get more powers. I have a way comes to my head of doing this, which is thus that I'm just gonna add this line. If the save against chaos was failed, monsters or summons also gain features on a result of 5. But the die is not a revolt. And I don't think I'm going to do the math for that, but I think that should work out to be. I mean, it makes it like a third instead of a sixth chance to get a power, which is, or a feature, which is good. Nice. Um, cool. So I'm just gonna paste this block for powers. Yeah, okay. That's chill. Cool. That's chill. Okay, so we've done that. We've made very small amount of progress on the spell. Hell yeah. How long has it been? An hour already. Let's go. Um, these streams are usually a little shorter because, like I said, doing this is like more taxing usually than playing video game. Shocking, I know. But we'll see how long we can go. Um, I'm not planning on stopping yet. Don't worry. Okay. So the next thing that we have to do is, now that we have determined an what I think is hopefully a good way to determine how many powers the summon will get, we're going to want to edit slash look through the table of powers that is in the spell and make it our own. So this is the table of powers that's in the spell. I'm going to attempt to paste this into the document without making the document explode. And then we will take a look at it and see if we can make it better. What minis are you painting, by the way? I mean, I assume Warhammer minis, but what kind? I'm I'm a little familiar with Warhammer, not super familiar, but I know the names of the factions, at least some of them. So, you know, basically an expert. And sorry, I'm just talking to you instead of working on this, but that's fine. Um, and you said you were interested in wanting to go into streaming to force yourself to finish stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah, you were probably talking about games, I guess, to finish games. I was wondering if you were talking about also streaming like the mini painting. That would be kind of interesting. So that would be kind of like what I'm doing here with like streaming, working on the TTRPG. Right now, some Skaven Plague Monks from Age of Sigma, which used to be Warhammer Fantasy. Okay, I think I know what those words mean. The Skaven are like the rat people, right? Hold on, I'm looking it up. Skaven. I'm sure you've already told me why. Oh yeah, it's the rat man. Oh baby, I was right. Okay, cool, cool, cool. That's cool. Rat people are cool. I told you I could name the factions. Cool. That's cool. Okay. I was pasting this table into this document. That's what I was doing. I'm doing important work here. Oh yeah, I added the work tag. This is a work stream. Ooh, that does not look pretty. How do I fix this again? Like that. Okay. So I think last maybe, but I would have to find out a way to set up a camera, which I don't know if I can manage because I also work on this computer every day. Yeah. Well, that's a mood. Yeah, I guess it depends on the physical layout of the space. So yeah, that could be cool though. I don't know. I'm not personally. I'm not super crafty, but painting minis does seem cool. I feel like I could get into that because that has like that has the benefit of like you get to paint something, which is cool, but then also like potentially you get to play a war game with it, which is probably cooler. Um, at least to me, I think that would be cool. I would love wargaming, I think, as a hobby, but it seems I've always gotten the impression that it's expensive. And I mean I think that's true. Um, and I typically try to avoid expensive hobbies. I don't know. Just that's why my hobbies are editing Google Docs. Pretty low cost hobby. But it's probably fun. But I feel like the downside would be that you would need to find people to play with, which is probably not super easy outside of like war gaming stores. But I guess tabletop role playing games kind of have the same problem. Anyway, um, I'm just rambling. I just like talking. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I'm not really happy with how my mini is looking. I'm getting better, but it's not yet there. Wow, that's cool. That's that's a long time. It's hella expensive. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I my understanding is that mini painting is quite difficult because like well I don't know it seems difficult. The minis are so tiny, and you want the details to be good. And yeah, um, glosses and whatever. I don't know. I don't paint minis. I So recently I got the Divinity Original Sin board game, um, which has minis. Um, Divinity Original Sin like the video game, um, like by the Baldur's Gate 3 people. Um, and so I got that board game and it has minis. And one of my coworkers was able to paint some of the minis for me because she does crafty stuff, and they look really cool, and I'm really impressed with them. But um, I also don't like. paint minis or know what good or bad painted minis look like, so I think I would be pretty easily impressed in general. But they still did look really cool, and I appreciated it. That's my best experience with minis. For someone as broke as me, I have successfully found the two most expensive hobbies, gaming and Warhammer. That's fair. I feel like gaming, it depends. It depends a lot for gaming. Because I feel like obviously I play video games. Shocking revelation about myself. Um, but I don't feel like it's necessarily expensive. Like I buy like maybe a new game every month or two, which is kind of a lot, but not like crazy. I don't know. Um, if you're like playing a gotcha game or something though, or like spending money on microtransactions in like a live service game or buying skins in Fortnite or whatever, then yeah, you could spend a lot of money. It could be expensive. I think it kind of depends. You could, on the other hand, you could like play like League free to play for like 10 years or whatever, and that costs nothing except like your life and soul, which is a different kind of expense. Yeah, but like a new game is like 70 euro, which is like a lot. Yeah. No, yeah, that's true. My advantage is that I play games really slowly. So I don't have to buy new games that often unless I'm really excited about them. I play Destiny 2, which is worse enough. Okay. Yeah, Destiny 2 is what I was thinking about when I was thinking about live service games with microtransactions. Not to out one of my friends here, but one of my friends who um watches my streams sometimes is big Destiny 2 brained, and I know that she buys like uh every possible microtransaction it seems in Destiny 2, which seems like a lot. She will go unnamed for her benefit. Um, but yeah, even if you don't buy the like whatever, like emotes or whatever, um, the DLC for that they put out regularly is like a pretty significant recurring expense for sure. It's a cool game though. Um, I played it like closer to launch and then stopped playing and never got back into it. But I should try it again at some point. Yeah. Playing Destiny is a love hate relationship. The expansions are like $100. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about. I knew they were around that, which is kind of crazy, but I don't know. Hopefully, if you're buying those, you're getting enough playtime value out of it to justify it. It certainly makes me feel better when I compare it to something like a movie, um, which you know can be something like $20, talking US dollars, not euros, um, for entertainment for like 2 hours versus potentially many more from a video game, unless you don't finish it or never play it, which is, I guess, the fate of many video games. So who knows, man? At least you're not playing, like Magic. That's an expensive one. Minis are pretty bad. What other expensive hobbies are there? Collecting stuff. Collecting anything. I don't know. All right, all right, all right. I'm gonna look at this table. I'm gonna do it. Okay. So last time, I'm pretty sure we looked through this table. Though the last tabletop dev stream I did was a couple weeks ago, so my memory is a little fuzzy. I play with my partner, so yeah, we play a lot. Nice. Also, the expansions have like the season pass with them, so I get content for like a year and I pay it. Yeah. That makes sense. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, having someone to play with helps a lot. Um, okay. So, yeah, so we looked at this table last time, and I think I made some comments about things that wouldn't work in this system because um, this is copied and pasted from the other system, and the issues with it are that some of the spells or whatever that are in this list are not in our system, so we will have to change them. Some of them don't make sense in our system, which we'll get to, and some of them are just not like explained what they mean. Um, like this one, which just says radioactive. What does that actually mean in the game? Who knows? So we should probably change these things to be more reasonable. Um, okay. So just starting at the top here. Um, the first 10 are all AC bonuses. These are pretty boring, but I feel like they're fine. Maybe a poison AoE around the summon. Hey, this was the other reason why I streamed this is to solicit ideas. We're writing that down. We'll come back to it. I wonder if there is anything like that in this list. Um, because there's stuff like being able to cast like incendiary cloud, which is not. Ooh. Oh, okay. There's okay, yeah. There's similar stuff, but we can make it more interesting. I'm sure. Did I bump my camera? I feel like my face is weird. Whatever. Um. Cool. Yes. If you have any ideas, gonna do something real quick. Gonna be back in 5 minutes. Cool. Sounds good. I will keep working on this. Um. Okay. Yeah, but if you or any other viewers, hello, if there are any other viewers, if you have any ideas about powers for summon monsters from other dimensions to have, just let me know. Misspell poison. Um, these are boring, but I think they're good to have. Um, they are kind of wacky because letting like AC plus 1d12 and AC plus 1d20 be options mean you could get some really busted summons potentially. Um, given that base AC is 12. I guess it's not that bad. Would end up around like 22-ish if you roll in the worst case of rolling 1d20, but it's still a lot of AC. And just adding a flat like 4 or 6 AC like is kind of insane. Especially if you already get a form that gives it flat AC. So part of me wants to make these lower. Hmm. What if I just made it like, what if I just lowered these die sizes by 1? change the 1d20 to 2d6. That's still a lot. Then 1d4, 6. Yeah, and the immune to normal weapons thing, um, is fine. Immune to normal weapons is a really strong effect. Um, is it anywhere else in this table? Yeah, it's here. Oh, right next to it. Okay. I'm gonna highlight this. We're gonna come back to it. It's probably fine, but I don't think you want to make the monster be unkillable too much of the time, because that's like non-interactive. So I guess immune to normal weapons means still magic weapons and silver weapons and magic and stuff affect it. What if I just moved it to the lower the lower options here? That would make it a little better. Like if I swap this with this. Then we have a duplicate. That's no. Okay, I'm gonna undo that. That's fine. I'm gonna come back to that. Okay. And now we have to just confirm for always, for all of these that we have the spells that are being referenced. I think Animate Dead at Will is a good power. Um, it is called something different for us. It would be Raise Dead. Um, oh, and we should add a note to specify what level the monsters are casting the spell at. Summon, summon, summon. I'm back. Nice. Don't worry, I haven't made too much progress without you. Um, Gonna add a note here. Note. Oh, it should be. See if I can word this in a way. Determine the spell level a monster can cast a spell at. I just looked it up. I have played around 1,652 hours of Destiny in the last 3 years, lol. Damn. That's a lot of Destiny. That's like 500. My ability to do basic math has diminished significantly as the stream has continued. That's like 500 hours a year, which is pretty a lot. It's like an hour and a half a day, around 68 days. Okay. Yeah, so it's sort of like 1,000 days in 3 years, so that's like 5% of that time, maybe. Not to expose you or anything. It's a lot of Destiny, is the point. So anyway, you probably get your money's worth, I guess, is the is the upside of that. That's good. It is a good game, I'm sure. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. Planning my Destiny 2 stream now just to lure Quinny in. Um, to turn a monster's cash level, treat it as a magic user level equal to monsters. Summon, not monster. Determine someone's caster level, treated as a magic user with level equal to the monsters. It die. I'm more interested in this or single player stuff when it comes to stream because Destiny I can play myself anytime. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I mean I'm not an expert on like obviously I'm not like an expert on streaming or like what people are drawn to in streaming. I feel like there are definitely benefits to each. Personally, when I'm watching streams, I like watching multiplayer games that I like have played or play or single player games that I've have played. I don't really like watching single player stuff that I haven't played for spoiler reasons, but like where I was going with that is obviously different people have different preferences. So, that's fair. Um and that's good because I will be doing this and single player stuff primarily. Um though maybe I'll do multiplayer stuff if I could get, any of my friends to play with me. We'll see how that goes. Good to know. Good to know. Um. Okay. I watch a lot of challenge runs and trophy hunters, but I like to watch smaller streamers because they have a more chill vibe. Nice. And you know what? As a small streamer with like, uh, you know, as a small streamer, I appreciate it. Um. Yeah, challenge runs are cool. Trophy hunting. I watch speedrun stuff. Um. But usually more like videos of like runs as opposed to like stream VODs where people are doing attempts. But I do so I get the appeal. And yeah, I definitely feel like smaller streamers probably cool because you get the chance to actually like speak with them and like hang out with them that you wouldn't really get with a bigger streamer. But yeah, I don't know. Not an expert. Anyway, um, should I word this? incomplete sentences are probably for the best here. Can cast manipulate dead at will. This is cool. This is a cool like power. Though it's a little unclear what they mean. First attack against creature always misses. Otherwise +2 AC. Do they mean like the first attack ever? Or like the first attack per person attacking it? Oh yeah, but what I was gonna say is that what I don't like about this one is that they're just randomly introducing like a keyword here, which is unnecessary. So I think that I will take that out. I could probably reword it to just be this, +2 AC. And first attack against creature, let's say in a round, always misses. Yeah, a lot of these are not worded very well, so we'll see if we can make them better. Oh yeah, and we'll highlight the ones that we don't like and take them out and replace them with better ones. This is one that doesn't make sense. Bonus attack. If initial attack hits, opportunity for another attack. What does this mean in play? It just it doesn't, it's unclear. Bonus damage on great hits. This is another thing where they're introducing like a key term that doesn't exist anywhere else in the system. Does one greater die damage if hits by 5 or more or rolls a 20? I'm just going to highlight ones that I don't like and we can come back to them. Like this effect is fine, but it should be something that's more parsable. And these are all spells, or Chaos and Cloud Killer spells. Does D&D have critical hits? Good question. Yeah. So in 5th edition, which is the most popular version of D&D, the current one, right? Well, backing up. In D&D, you roll a d20 to attack, right? That's your to hit roll. In 5th edition, I believe if you roll a 20, it is an auto hit and you add another die to the damage. So let me look this up. Let me look this up to make sure I'm not spouting bullshit. But so basically, if you were to roll 2d6, you roll an additional d6 of damage. Critical hits 5th edition. I wanted to give you the 5th edition version so that I could give you how it works in my system. Oh no, you double the damage die. Yeah. Okay. So yes, on a 20, 5% of the time, obviously. You roll twice the damage die in 5th edition. In my system, it works a little bit different. It's similar, but same 5% chance you crit on a 20 and it hits. But in my system and in other similar systems, there is a critical hit table that you then roll on to determine the effect. So there's stuff with that, and you can kind of play with it. But yeah, in the system, you get advantage on damage, and then usually there's another effect. So yeah. Sorry, that was a really rambly answer. Yes, D&D has critical hits. Is the answer to that. Christ, keep it together. This is what happens when I do math for even 1 second. Um, chaos. What is the spell chaos in Lamentations? Okay. Oh, I think then maybe add the number you roll on the crit table as. Ooh, then maybe add the number you roll on the crit table as damage to the great hit critical hit damage. Um, that's cool. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. So the effect in the table is bonus damage on great hit. Does one greater damage if hits by 5 or more, rolls a natural 20. Add the number you roll on the crit table as damage. That way it would work with your crit table. Yeah. Or what you could even do is that is a good idea. Um I have a response, but I want to write what you said. I want to make this annoying thing go away. Um Another thing that you could do, I think you could do in that place is like uh increase crit table result by amount or reroll and take higher, because what I glossed over in my crit table explanation for this system is that it is a 1d20 crit table, and the higher you roll, the stronger the effect. And then there's a fumble table that works in reverse, where it's the lower you roll on the fumble table, the worse the effect is for the person fumbling. So yeah, but making it interact with the crit table is a good idea. The only, I think, potential problem with that is that damn, word summon sure is in this document a lot. Um the only potential problem I have with that is that like um if it only has an effect on critical hit, that makes it like a pretty like low value power, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because these don't have to be balanced. But on the whole, I feel like they should be like pretty impactful. Um so I guess it's not that much different than this because the addition of this is only, well, I guess hitting by 5 or more does happen a non-negligible amount of the time. Um but that is a good idea, but I would want to add something else to it. Maybe like expanding the crit range by 1 also, so that you also crit on a 19. That's something that happens elsewhere in the system. Good thought though. Thank you. Okay. I was looking for chaos. Oh, I looked this up before. We could replace that with a more fun spell. In their system, it's just like they make a saving throw and then they do something random, which is an okay spell. I think we have an equivalent in our system. Um, Probably like confusion. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, confusion is my version of that spell, but with a slightly more interesting table. Summon. Um, I love now. I, I have to ask, what is a muscle wizard? That is a really, really good question. Once again, thank you, and I'm happy you're asking. Now I can go on a tangent about classes. Let me replace chaos with confusion. Can cast confusion. At will. The one at a time is so that they can't like spam it. I wonder how we should say that. I'm going to answer your question in a second. Every N rounds, probably. Or, while confusion is not ongoing. While the effects of this spell are not ongoing. Yeah, okay, we can say it like that. Can cast confusion. While the effects are not. No, that's kind of confusing wording too. Shit, wording things is hard. Okay, I'll leave it as one at a time for now. Okay, I have to answer your question. So, um, I said before that I'm a fan of wacky stuff. In my tabletop role playing games. Muscle Wizard is one of the classes in the system. Um, yeah. So like fighter or cleric. We got Muscle Wizard. Um, Muscle Wizards are like wizards, but ripped, as you know you might expect. Um, Instead of casting spells like a normal RPG wizard does, they cast spells while punching, by punching. Um, and can combine their spell cast with an unarmed attack. Um, Changes the range of all their spells to be like melee range, basically. Um, and their fists are magic. And they basically get bonuses for getting in there, so to speak. If you get in there and start punching, you get temporary health, which is good because that's how you want. That's how we want people to play Muscle Wizards. Um. Oh, and they also get a damage spell guaranteed. So playing a Muscle Wizard is all about getting in there and starting to and laying into people. It's a great aesthetic. More people should play Muscle Wizards. Uh, this class was, I think, that actually sounds hella fun. Yeah, I will say this class is not like it's not like an entirely original concept. Of course, I don't know who did it first, but I definitely got it from somewhere. Um, yeah, it's good. It's a funny class to play. Um, I I'm a big fan of the classes in our system in general. Like they pretty much all have something that makes. Well, I'm biased, right? I wrote the system, and I wrote the classes. But I think that they all have something in them that makes them like cool or interesting, or fun. Um, what's a good example? Um, what is a good example? Um, they're all cool. Like magic users, they have the really cool miscast thing that I was alluding to before. Um, which can leads to all sorts of wacky shenanigans, basically constantly, which is fun. Specialists um are like skill experts, and they get like uh they get perks when they get to a high enough level that makes them do cool skill stuff. Um, helping them use their skills like assassinating people or healing people or whatever. Um, let's see. Halflings are like a ranger class. Um, that have monster taming mechanics and and bouncing ranged attacks. Um, barbarians um have like some magic immunity, the rage thing, and also a wacky table that they roll on when they level up that can give them wacky powers. Anyway, it's cool. And that's not even going into the wacky classes, which are the ones in the additional classes, which are Goblin, Ratman, and Inheritor. Ratman, relevant to Scathe. Look at that. Um, anyway, yeah, Muscle Wizard rocks. I don't think any of the classes are boring. Um, RPGs are fun. That's the takeaway from this stream. Unless you're doing math for like 3 hours. Unless you like doing math, in which case that's also fun. I do like doing math. Okay, anyway. Okay, I'm just going to go through again and try and highlight the things that I want to change. And then we can revisit them in more detail at the end. Um, Cloud Kill is fine. Um, we have that spell, so it's fine. This thing with Cold Attack, we don't really have the concept of like typed attacks like that's spelled out really anywhere. So I kind of want to change it to not be that if possible. This this was a separate spell than Chaos in the original system. I just made the Chaos one be Confusion, so now this one's gonna have to change. Continuing damage. After a hit, victim takes 1 die less damage each round until a creature leaves or is killed. That's a cool idea, but I'm not sure how it would play out in practice because I feel like most of the time they'll be attacking with 1d6. Um, damage sphere, that's basic. All within 15 feet take 1d6 damage per round. That's fine. I have an idea for one that might be fun if it doesn't exist already. Hell yeah, hit me with it. We're gonna need ideas, and I'm sure I'm gonna run out before I get through replacing all of them. Slash, it'll probably be better than half the ones I can come up with. Darkness is fine and kind of interesting. Um, Detect Invisibility I don't think is a spell in our system. No, it is not. Yes, please hit me with your idea. When you got the time. Like a trail... misread. Like a snail trail, so when the someone moves, it leaves a trail of IDK, poison lava, something that does damage. Yes, that is a cool idea. I'm trying to think about the mechanics of that. The only thing that's tricky about that, I like that idea, is that, well, it depends how you're playing, I guess. Because, like, when you're playing a TTRPG, you are not always playing with like a battle mat or like a on a grid or anything. Um, like at least when I am playing these games, it's usually like theater of the mind, I guess is what you would call it. Like, oh no, that's not true. I draw the maps. Never mind. I was just thinking that that would make more sense in like a wargaming situation where you're like more accurately tracing the movement of the monster. But I guess that does still happen in our game. So yeah, I'm gonna write that down. I wasn't trying to nitpick you or your idea in particular, just every idea. I want to nitpick, or not idea, every option in the table I want to nitpick to see what we can come up with. But I'll write that down. I have concluded that is a good idea. Snail trail. Um, hit me up if you got any more though. I will steal the ideas of my audience. Uh, yeah, so that one needs to change. Drain ability score. It's alright, you have the know-how and it's your system, do what you want. Well, thank you. But I it is definitely important, I think. Oh no, I'm taking a stance on game design philosophy. I definitely think it is important for people who are making games to listen to other people. Hot take. Especially people who are like not as familiar. Because I think when you're making a game, you can get like, especially if it's just you can get like trapped in it and like it gets too much in your head and you sort of like lose the context. Anyway, game development's hard. Um, um, Duo Dimension. This spell is really cool. This is like the Paper Mario spell, I think. I just want to make sure it is called that in our system. It is cool. Yeah, you become 2D. Cool spell. Electrical attack. Again, this is one that I want to change. I have only played the second Paper Mario. Yeah, I actually haven't played any Paper Marios. Um, Definitely watch YouTube videos about Paper Mario. Seems like a cool game. Seems like a kind of game I would enjoy, but I have not played them. My range of Nintendo games that I have played is not super high. I guess outside of Pokemon, which I've played extensively. But yeah, I don't know. Like I have a Switch, but I've never really gotten hooked on Switch games because I have this computer. It's fun, something different to the normal Mario games. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I like RPGs in general, right? And like turn-based stuff. Um, so like that's really appealing over platformers, which I'm honestly not like a huge fan of. But yeah, I agree. I mainly have a Switch for Zelda games. Yeah, I I I wanted to say I'm ashamed to say that I haven't played Breath of the Wild, but I'm not really that ashamed. I don't know. I just haven't played Breath of the Wild. I know I probably should, but I've heard so much about it for so long that part of me wants to be like a hipster and not play it, but I don't know. That's stupid. I also haven't like played a lot of Zelda games at all, so I don't have a lot of attachment to the series, like motivation to play. But yeah, obviously I have heard good things about the series. ESP, we do have ESP. I bought my Switch for Smash Bros. I really, really, really wanted to play Smash Bros. Uh, and I put off buying it for too long, but I did have a lot of fun playing that. If you don't intend on playing it, there's some fun speedruns of it that might be more interesting to you. That's fair. I should play it. I should play it. Just like to experience it, to understand. I think the hype. Um, I've seen some of the like tricks and stuff for Zelda. Not like in depth, but I've seen like short videos on them, and they are cool. What does this spell do? It does what I think it does, but I just want to check. It can read thoughts. Cool. Yeah, it's a good power. Explosion. Is that a spell in Lamentations, or is it they just saying the word explosion and expecting people to know what they mean as a power? It's not a spell. It's the second one. Okay, that's gonna have to change into something that's means something and isn't nothing. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing, but it's a very long game with lots to do, and the story's not the best of the series. Yeah, I yeah. I think I used to struggle with playing open world games because like I would feel compelled to like ex- explore as much as I could of the world. But as I have played more of them, I think that that's not the way that I should play them necessarily. Because if you do that, you can end up taking a really long time, and you might end up doing stuff that's not that fun. I think it's probably better, at least in some games, to like just do the things that you are interested in. So that might help with the length. I Yeah. I mean, I imagine the story is pretty spread out, but I have heard good things about the characters for sure. In Breath of the Wild, I don't know anything about the characters in Tears of the Kingdom. Are they different than Breath of the Wild? Because I know like the map is largely the same, or at least the above ground part between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Um, Evil Mind. Do I have that spell? Yes, I do. I think that just makes it so that people can't cast spells. Yeah, can't do anything. Oh yeah, and if they succeed their save, they get hasted, which is cool. Line on a successful hit. It's a lot. Partly it has some new characters and gets rid of some of the old, so it's kind of a mixed bag for me. Yeah, you just made me realize, like, when you said that, you made me realize that, like, I have, like, seen images and stuff of, like, and heard my friends talk about some of the characters in Breath of the Wild. I don't remember their names, but I've definitely heard people talk about them. But I feel like I have not heard anything about the characters in Tears of the Kingdom. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just far enough outside of the Zelda sphere that I don't, I just realized I did not know any of them. Um, I think on a successful hit is too much. There should probably be a save or something. Gaseous form at will is good. Glow of invulnerability, I don't know if we have that one. Nope, we do. There are so many spells. It is hard for me to remember all of them. Cool. This just protects from magic. Okay, that's fine. This is a fine power. Just taking away the key term. Haste always on self is scary. These immune things. If you want a more story-focused Legend of Zelda, try out my favorite Skyward Sword, which is very fun, but it has weak controls, so it's a bit wonky on the Switch. Yeah, wasn't the cool thing about that game? Well, I mean, I don't know. My impression of the cool thing about that game is don't you like use the swing the Wiimote like a sword? That's neat. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I were to play a Zelda game, um, it would probably be Breath of the Wild because I feel like I should play it for the context since so many games like try to be Breath of the Wild. And I've heard like really good things about all the systems. I mean, I think the good part of Breath of the Wild, I think, is like the systems in it, right? Um, you could do that with the Joy Cons. It's still there. Okay, that's sick. That makes sense. But like the environmental interactions and like the time slow and the stuff like that, um, or whatever, is is the good part. But I don't know. I haven't played the games. Um, all these immune things. Two issues. First is like I was saying, the damage types thing is not really a thing, so I'm wary of those. What the hell is immune to wood? Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. And the second thing is that these look fine, but like if you start to think about like these ones, these three in particular, it's like they don't make sense. And that's the problem with a lot of these is that they just don't make sense. Like for example, this one, just the word explosion. What do they mean by that? No one knows. Um Looking ahead, the other example I had, the word radioactive. What does that mean in the game? No one knows. It's going to have to change in our system so it actually means something. What is the difference between immune to normal weapons and immune to physical attacks? It's not really clear. Maybe physical attacks also includes punching? And immune to wood. Is that like just staffs, I guess? Maybe? Immunity to staffs in particular? I don't think there are any other weapons that are just wood and not metal. Stupid. So yeah, that's the other problem. And then like how are we expecting immune to metal to be different from immune to normal weapons also? Can't get splinters. Because, like, all of the weapons are going to be metal. Like, people outside of staffs, I guess, people aren't using, like, rocks. Well, no, people are using rocks. People are using slings. But still, like, stupid. I don't know. These four are, like, too similar or just meaningless. This next one I just don't like. Some of the bad thing about Lamentations is that some of it is kind of weird in a way that I don't like. Um, we'll see that more if we ever get to the special effects that can happen. These ones that are like, yeah, yeah, uh-huh, yeah. So when I was younger, like talking like 8 years ago, when I first read this system, I was an edgier person, which is fine. Um, but I was more like, yeah, this is edgy in a cool way that I like. But as I have grown older, I have gotten to a point where when I am writing an RPG, I do not want to have an impregnating effect in my table. So that is going to have to change, I think. And it's gonna be the same shit with these effects, because like these ones in particular, um, this text doesn't need to be here. Some of them are edgy in a bad way. Um, particularly like Lust of a Betrayed Lover, which like is similar. Memories of Preconception. Like anything that goes into that territory, bad. I don't even want to talk about it too much on stream because like weird. Um, and like also like things that touch on sensitive topics, also bad and like should be changed probably. Not necessarily bad, but like there, yeah, there are some wild stuff in there. And again, like the appeal of this spell and of this like the original system, Lamentations of the Flame Princess more broadly, is that like there is wild stuff, and like, but like as I've said like 5 times, I'm a fan of wacky stuff. Like so the possibility of getting like, you know, oh shit, I accidentally deleted a number. Whatever. The the possibility of getting like space between the ticks of a clock when you're trying to summon like a dog or whatever. Um, these are like abstract concepts that you're summoning from the magical dimension, and they do like wacky things. Um, that's cool, but like thematically, they should change uh, to not be the things they are. So yes, 100%. Anyway, that's another reason that we're changing things to make the vibes better. Incendiary Cloud is 100% not a spell in our system. I don't even think that's a system. That's a spell in Lamentations. I swear I've never seen that in my life. Nope, it's not in here. It's not in here, so what the hell does it mean? Who knows? Moving on, we're gonna change it. Lost Dwemer. Is this a spell in Lamentations? I don't think it is. It super isn't. So what do they mean by that? Who knows? We're gonna change it. Magic Drain. Again, what does that mean? They have to stop using magic. But like for how long? Like the effect isn't bad, but it needs more details. Maze on successful hit. This is a spell that we have. that basically traps someone in a mind maze. Um, it's gonna say the same thing for that one as I said for Feeble Mind. On a successful hit is probably too much. There should probably also be a save. Um, Memory wipe on a successful hit, but no other damage. That's cool. Do I have a memory wiping spell? Oh, I was looking at my other monitor. The what's kind of the only thing that's weird about streaming this is that like I have multiple monitors, and normally when I'm working on this, like I would have it up on multiple monitors, but for the benefit of the viewer, I, you know, I do it all on one monitor. I don't know how to stream multiple monitors. Well, no, I do know how to stream multiple monitors. You could like put them side by side in OBS, but that would be weird and small because you're only like outputting one, like 1920 by 1080, right? So anyway, what was I just doing? Memory wipe. Haha, that's ironic. Um, yeah, memory wipe isn't a spell in their system. Do I have any memory wiping spells in our system? Like a permanent memory loss or only until combat ends? That's a good question. Um, I mean, it's unclear. Typically, in these types of systems, like a memory wipe spell would wipe like recent memory permanently. Um, but like, yeah, memory memory wipe on hit is all we get in the description of the spell there. Because permanent would have a way bigger impact on storytelling. Yeah, yeah, that's what makes it interesting, like an interesting power. Um, it would be cool if we had like a precedent for like a spell of how that worked to back it up. I don't think I'm. Oh, you can see my cursor. I don't think we do. I do. I like it though. I will. I will. I would like to keep it. Like the memory loss effect because that would be interesting if you summoned a monster and it couldn't do damage, but it could only wipe people's memories. Like that's crazy. Um, yeah, there aren't any spells that do that. Maybe there should be a spell that does that. Ooh, well, I pressed the wrong button. No. Yes, I did. Okay, cool. Um, I'm gonna add that as an idea to my to-do list. Something to think about. Should there be a memory wipe spell? Maybe. Um, yeah. I like this, but it needs more detail. Maybe I will write a spell for this. That'd be kind of fun. Mimicry can duplicate sounds and voices it has heard. Does your system have a rest system like D&D's? So maybe they can lose their memory since the last long rest. Hmm. Yeah, it does. It does have a system that's similar. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I was thinking if I were to write a spell for this. Okay, skimming over some of the details to avoid explaining for too long. But like, basically, spells in the system, spells in my system are they scale as you go up in level. So something to think about is like how it would scale as the caster gets more powerful. So like the way that I would write it would probably be like you lose your memory from the last like X hours, where X increases as the level of the caster increases, right? Um, But it would be kind of cool if you could like hit like in the context of like a monster being able to do this. It would be cool if like if the monster kept hitting you, you progressively lost more and more of your memory, right? I feel like is what you would kind of expect. Um, so if it was only like since last long rest or for the last like 6 hours or whatever, then it would never get worse if you got hit multiple times. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could do something with the wording there. That's a good idea. Um, since last long rest for and hours. Why did I make the X with my fingers? Was that necessary? One hit equals half a day. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and you could have wording that is like um n hours of most recent memory. And that's a way of addressing that concern I just had in like an easy way. Cuz then like if you lose your memory of the last 12 hours and you get hit again, then like your most recent 12 hours get lost. That's cool. Yeah. I'm going to write this spell. Maybe I will. Um but I want to finish just scanning through the list. Wow, we've highlighted a lot of things to be changed. Like almost half, almost half of the ones that we've read so far. I have been like, I don't like this. This sucks, or it needs more detail. So that's cool. Um, this is gonna take me fucking forever, isn't it? Mimicry. I'm wondering if there's a spell for that. I feel like there should be. That's like a common spell in D&D is like voice mimicry, right? Um, do I have something like that? Change appearance. Oh, audible glamour. That's what it is. Yeah, false sound. Yeah. Okay. The name is just not mimicry. That's fine. That's a good power for a monster to have for sure, because you can do like luring people and stuff. Um. Oh, I guess at will should also be clarified. I think as an action. I'll work on the wording for this. I don't really want to fuck with it at this exact second in time. Um, mind control. I don't know if we have a mind control spell again. Um, I don't think so. Generally, you want to avoid having players lose agency of their character. That's a bad thing usually. Um, but charm person is as close as you're gonna get to mind control, I think usually. So we could just replace it with that. Mirror image, always on. I definitely have that spell. Yep. Oh, mirror image. Yeah. Sorry. I was sometimes I do that when I've been streaming the thing for too long and I just forget to read it out loud and I just read it to myself. Thank God I played a bit of Baldur's Gate 3 so some of those spells actually mean something to me. Yes, God bless. Yeah. It's kind of cool actually, to say something like needlessly nerdy here. It's kind of cool like tracing back like cuz like this system right is based on like earlier versions of D&D. It's kind of cool that like you can trace back like in the current version of D&D 5th edition like the origins of like the spells that they use and it's cool to see that some of them are the same, right? Cuz like mirror image for instance, like basically the same spell exists in current 5th edition and like you can trace that back like 30 years or whatever to like the first edition of D&D. And it's like the same thing. It's kind of cool. Um Also, Baldur's Gate 3, excellent game. You should play more of it. I'm a huge Baldur's Gate fan, which I guess is not surprising, given that like the two interests that you know that I have are video games and tabletop role playing games. So and also I said I bought the original Sin board game, so I might be a Larian fan. It's all coming together. Talk to me about Baldur's Gate 3 any day. Um, yeah, and also like when I like get into the vibe of like talking to you slash myself about this stuff, I will. I do this all the time, not just for TTRPG stuff, but like it's easy to forget like terms that people don't know. So if you ever want me to explain anything, absolutely please ask, because I will just spew shit that means something to me, but might not mean something to other people. Excellent content creation and audience retention strategy, I think. It's just to say incomprehensible garbage. Um, yeah, 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 yep, yep. I know I should, but it's such an in-depth and large game. It's kind of overwhelming, especially because I can't decide what I want to play class-wise. Yeah, the the awesome thing about Baldur's Gate, and also like one of the scariest things about Baldur's Gate is how big it is for sure. Like it took me a really long time to play through all of it, and it is a really big game. But I mean that's good because it's also a really good game. So there's a lot of it. Um, yeah. As to class wise, yeah, that can be hard. Um, you know, I'm trying out some things too with this movie. There's just so much. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, the game is not really conducive to a play style where like you to try the different classes in subclasses because like if you wanted to like do a battle with every class to see how it is, like you're just not going to be able to do that. Like especially early game when you don't have money, especially if you want to try subclasses, like there's like 12 cleric subclasses or whatever. So upside is you get to play four of them, because you have the four party members. Um, but yeah, the real answer I think is you should just pick one that sounds cool, and go with that. And there's not really going to be a bad choice. Yeah, I played I played Wild Magic Sorcerer in Baldur's Gate 3 for my custom character. Um which maybe is not surprising given how much I have said that I like tables and randomness. So I am a little disappointed by the Wild Magic Sorcerer in 5th edition. It's less wacky than it could be, for sure. But the rest of the Sorcerer class was pretty cool. And then I had Paladin, Fighter, and God, I can't even. My brain is just empty right now. Yeah, and I'm trying to think how much I rotated people out in my original party for Baldur's Gate 3. I started so many playthroughs, it's all gotten kind of fuzzy. But yeah, my party was, I think, Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and um, Iminthara, right? And I kept them all as their classes, I think. No, I respect Lae'zel to Ranger. That's what I did. Okay, cool. I knew that was wrong. Anyway, Lae'zel's the best, is the moral of that story. Yeah, but that's kind of the thing I'm still trying to learn, to play stuff more for fun and less for efficiency. 100%. That is what I was just saying about the open world games, right? Is that I am also, that is something I am also learning. Because if you try to do everything, and you don't think everything is fun, you should just not do everything. You should just do the things you think are fun and not the other stuff. Um, but yeah, for sure. I'm just adding in a condition here to make this more reasonable. Um, move. Move Earth is definitely not a spell I have. Do I have anything similar? Oh, there's like rock to mud. Transmute rock to mud, yeah. That's a good one. Wall of stone. Anyway, point is we're gonna have to change it. Oh, I can feel myself, my energy. What is that? Sorry, I read your message and I had to read it like twice to parse what you were saying. What is the what the fuck did I do last night table? Good question. Um, this requires a small amount of context. Um, okay, two things. So, when you are not adventuring in this system, you can do downtime activities. Um, which are the ways you can get more XP. The big ones are you could donate to charity, which will turn your money into XP basically at like a rate of like 1 to 0.7. But it's like it's safe, okay, is the thing. Versus carousing, which just means partying basically. You go get wasted. That is the other downtime activity that you could do, the other major downtime activity you could do. Ignore all these. Which also turns your money into XP, but at a rate of 1 to 1. So it's more efficient, but yeah, as it says here, can cause complications. And that's what the what the fuck did I do last night table is for. Um, those are the complications. Um, for when you get wasted. Disclaimer is that this table is taken from someone else at the moment, and I have not edited it extensively. So some of the options, so it's a hangover table basically. Some of the options I want to change because I don't love them. Um, like similar to some of the summon stuff that I don't love. But you can see some of the options here. You get into fights. They got tattoo tables. You piss someone off. Initiate into a secret side. It's wacky hangover effects, yeah, basically. Um, this is a table I have to edit. Let me, yeah, I have that here. Downtime activity table. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 13. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a funny one. That is one of the ones that I want to edit to make sure that it's like good and not bad. Because like doing stuff like that is cool, but also like you want to be careful about you know, making players do that result. So, anyway, asterisk, this table needs to be edited. Like this kind of thing is not like not my vibe. But so but it is a good table. Anyway, good question. Um what other good tables are there? Yeah, fair, that's a bit iffy. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I just want to say that. That's why I just want to say the disclaimer. But it's a good table. Oh, this is another fun one. This if you're hey, hello, Don the Pang. SMH, can't believe you're not expanding it into a full ERP table. Yeah, that's actually the next system I'm going to work on. Is after I make like a normal OSR system, there really aren't enough tabletop role playing game systems that just cater fully to ERP. So, could always use more in that space. Even better if it's OSR. High fatality ERP, that could go crazy. um, I was going to point out the Snakes and Swords table, which I love personally, and my players sometimes hate, as Don the Pang here can verify. Um, but basically, you play shoots and ladders when you're running away from monsters, which is super fun. We'll be watching this for spoilers of our future sessions. Yeah, I can fill you in on what I was doing. I was this might mean something to you. Um, I'm working on summon. Uh, I'm trying to rewrite summon, which is a whole undertaking. Scrolling, scrolling. And I have gotten through quite a bit of it, not like completely rewritten all of it, but changed a lot of the tables, like to work with Ben and Tristan's instead of Lamentations. So that's good. Also simplified some of the stuff to make it less requires a web app to use, which is good. Um, anyway, I'm on the powers table, on the powers section of it, editing that table right now. So that's what's going on. And I almost finished the magic research section. That was a while ago, but I still got to edit that. Anyway, hi, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Um, cool. Yeah. So this one, Move Earth. By the way, feel free to just call me PJ unless you want it to be less confusing for other viewers or something. Okay, cool. Yeah, because like I will. Obviously, I know your name is PJ, but most people, I think, yeah, don't want me to say their real names. But also I know that on your stream you go by PJ and have like the PJ emotes and stuff. So that makes sense. Yes, I will. Thank you. Um, See, it's easy for me because like Ben, in the name, I just give out my name for free. Um, this multiple attacks one I think is fine. 1d3 attacks is kind of a lot. Going down to 1d2 seems sort of needlessly nitpicky. Yeah, that's where I always ask some people I know are watching. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, good to know. Um, 1d3 is a lot. Kind of want to go down to 1d2, which I think I will just do. Um, Paralysis on a successful hit. This needs more information. There should probably be a save and a duration. Right now, I'm just going through the effects thing, and I am highlighting the ones that I want to change or do not work in our system. And so far, it turns out that that is most of them. So that's cool. Um, Pernicious wounds do not naturally heal. This is a really cool effect, I think, actually. Um, not not recovering due to natural healing is cool. Um, I don't like them introducing the random key term, so I'll just remove that. Um, Glad to see the rules document becoming more self-contained. Yes, yep, yep, yes. I was explaining that to Queenie as well, but yeah, this is like I think this might be the last thing that requires Lamentations. Um, is summon. I think. Yeah, the last major thing anyway. Um, so like once we're done with this, and I like edit Magic Research, I think I can like cut the cord with Lamentations, which would be huge. The downside slash upside of me editing this is that like you will not be able to use the website for it, right? But that's also an upside because I get to make people roll on all these tables, which is fun for me. Damage caused by this monster does not heal non-magically. I will go back and take another look at like the wording of these things that I'm editing quickly here, but again, I'm just doing a quick pass through these. Intathmal Force, I don't think is a spell that we have. Nope. What is that in Lamentations? Oh, kind of tempted to use this to learn how to make a Discord bot then. Ooh, for summon? That would be cool. That would be cool as hell. I support you. I support you in that. And honestly, there are so many tables in that like you could just do that for any of the tables. That'd be cool. Character creation. Oh my god, you should make a character creator bot for you. PJ doesn't like making characters. You could absolutely automate that. I'm pretty sure Lily did it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then I changed character creation. but a summon Discord bot would be cool. Yeah. Of course, you would have to become intimately familiar with the process of character creation, which might be like a sort of catch-22 if you hate that process. Um, yeah. Um, okay. Phantasmal Force. I'm surprised we don't have this spell. This one's cool. This spell creates a creature the caster has previously seen that will obey every mental command. However, it only exists in the minds of those seeing, smelling, or hearing it. The first time a phantasmal creature causes damage in combat, victim receives the same with the reverse magic, so this means the creature ceases to exist. As far as character is concerned, this is a cool spell. Why don't we have this one? Big upside of the spell list reformat, PJ, is that um, I'm I just don't like making decisions. That's fair. That's fair. I'm trying to think how many decisions are in character creation, and it's really just item buying, I think. I guess you have to choose a class. Yeah. No, that's fair. It's easier to add spells now that they're not in that huge, terrible table. Um, so I can be like, oh, Phantasmal Force is cool. Oh, and the next three are Phantasmal Psychedelia and Phantasmal Supergoria, which are also super not in our system. That doesn't have too much choice, especially compared to like Pathfinder feature or something. Yeah, for sure. Especially because like outside of cleric, right, the spells are randomly determined, and I feel like that helps a lot. Um, but yeah, I know I remember how you feel about it. It's you're lucky that I'm like half of the design team, because if you should hear the ideas that Tristan has that I veto, which similarly I also have ideas that Tristan vetoes, rightfully so. But he definitely remembering like about the skill system he wanted to add to the fighter class. I think he would have hated that. Where you can get like branching. There's like a branching skill tree. I was like, that sounds like too much. We've already got the fighter bonuses. Okay, let me read what Phantasmal Psychedelia and Supergoria is. I probably got rid of them because they're all similar, all like the same spell. Yeah, these are all like the same spell, but Psychedelia and Supergoria are just better versions of it, which is probably why I took it out, because it's like weird scaling wise. This would be good as one spell in our system, where you summon like partially a real illusion. But like in terms of this table, obviously we'll have to change. Mm-hmm. But I will add to the to-do list, possibly add a version of that spell, because I do think it is cool. Can move through solid objects. That's a cool power. Don't need the keyword. Plant death, I feel like we have as a miscast effect. Man, I'm excited about the idea of implementing automation for all these tables, but I should probably wait until my thesis is finished. Man, all it took was talking about it for like 2 minutes. Hell yeah. Love that. I'm excited about that too. When how close are you to finishing that? I If you've shared any updates on it, I don't think I've seen them recently. But yeah, that does seem important. Though, RPGs are important too. Yeah, I don't think we have a spell for killing plants. Should be done this month. Let's go! Defense will probably be in May. That's so soon! Nice, that's so exciting. God, what are you even gonna do after than that? What is there after school? I guess maybe just research, which is kind of like school, but uh, you get paid instead of them taking money. Um, I don't know. Suffering mainly. Yeah, good point. School and suffering are the main components of life. That's fair. Well, sometimes you get to work on RPGs. That's cool. Um, I'm just seeing if there's any plant killy spells, but I really don't think there are. There's plant growth. Okay. I'm just thinking about this. As far as powers go, all vegetation dies within 10 times hit die feet. Feels less cool, less impactful than like, you know, plus 2d6 hit die, plus 2d6 AC or something. Since a lot of the time this will functionally do nothing. But like I've been trying not to think about what I'm doing next, but I guess I'll have to go job hunting soon, huh? Yeah, probably better not to think about it. Probably focus on the thesis for now. That seems important. There aren't any tree folk in this, are there? Um, there could be for sure. And yeah, it could be interesting in that situation. Like there could be like NPC wise. As a player, you um can't play as like a plant person, which honestly not a bad idea for a class. Plant person. But you could definitely have NPCs that are, um, I mean, trees or ants or whatever, or other kinds of living plants or living fungus like myconids or whatever. So it could be interesting in that context. The problem is that in the majority of contexts, it's not going to do anything. But that's probably fine. Um, can't play as a. No, good point, PJ. PJ has played as a plant person, as a consequence of events. But it's not a class. You're right though. On the plus side, job means yeah, it's kind of useless 99% of the time. Yeah, and like it's fine for these powers to not be useful all the time. Like what? Well, let me answer that. What happened in a second? Um, it's fine for these powers to like not be good some of the time, but like it is kind of feels like an odd one out compared to the other powers, which are like much more generally useful, it seems, for combat. Um, Back to PJ's combat comment. On the plus side, job means more income means more video games to buy. That's true. Um, when I stopped going to school and started working instead, I had so much more free time. Uh, so that's definitely big, big, big thing to look forward to. More video games. um, what happened? PJ could definitely do a better job summarizing this than I can because it happened to him. Um, but basically, in our campaign, which I think was using this system at the time, um, we came across this sentient plant which had taken over a mine. And we could communicate with it. Um, and I don't want to say it was an evil plant because forcing morals on a plant seems kind of unnecessary. But its primary motivation was to sort of reproduce by implanting its seeds into living people, and then taking over their bodies, which is kind of evil. Um, so it wanted us to do that for it, which we did agree to do in exchange for it not killing us. Uh, which one of several questionable moral decisions that we made as a group. Um, but yeah, basically what happened to PJ's character Gorogian is that he was implanted with the plant seed, and it took over his mind, and he became a mostly plant person that wanted to do that to other people. Um, and other than that, he was mostly chill. And then he got incinerated later, I think. So it all kind of worked out. I don't know what happened to that. Did we just leave that plant there after we did the thing where we brought the sacrifices to it? And by sacrifices, I mean people. We did that, right? It's all hazy in my mind. It was a whole thing. The campaign that's been happening in the system has been ongoing for like, I mean, not like an insanely long time, but like over 3 years, I think. Um, and a lot has happened. Yeah, I think it's presumably still there. Yeah. Unless the worms got it. Probably. The worms get everything. Sorry, I got distracted by a notification. Foolish move opening Discord. Stay closed. Um anyway, I was talking about plant death. Um yeah. I think my inclination for this is that like it's fine. It's an okay effect. What I would normally do in this situation is be like, this is a cool effect, like in niche circumstances. What we should do is we should add something else small to it that is more generally applicable. Um, so, and like the simplest example would be like +1 AC, which is boring, or uh, like an extra attack or something like that, or like yeah, something like that to make it better generally, but still have the possibility of causing something really interesting. Like if there are myconids or tree people around, or I don't know, you're fighting people on the treetops or something. There's like additional bias since our like the game where this is being played takes place in like caves mostly, so like it's super not relevant. But like in theoretical other situations where you're like outside, um, poison on a successful hit. There should probably be a save. I'm nicer than this list is originally because I want saves for all these things. Should probably be more detailed about what the poison is. Or I guess we could say GM can determine poison effects. Because you might want it to be different depending on what the monster is, right? Polymorph other on a successful hit. I don't think it's called that in our system. Polymorph. Maybe it is. There are a lot of hits for polymorph. Polymorph person. That's what it's called. Prismatic Sphere and Prismatic Spray are fine. Those are both fun spells that don't get cast a lot. Oh, do we have Prismatic Sphere, Spray, and Wall? I feel like we only have two of them. I probably would have thought that Wall is too similar to. Yep. I combined Wall and Sphere into Shield. That makes sense. Um, cool. So we just replace one of these with Shield, and then we're gonna have to swap out one of these for something else. That's a page break thing. Psionic attack, auto hit 1d6 damage. This is cool. I know what they mean. This could probably use a better explanation. Gains a psionic attack. Automatically hits. 1d6 damage. That's cool. That's fine. Psionic Scream. Auto hit in 30-foot radius area. 1d6 damage plus victims must save versus magic or be slowed. That's much worse. I can just say slowed as per the spell slow. That's fine. 30-foot radius area is redundant. I kind of want to limit this to be like once per amount of time. Because being able to do that every round seems kind of busted. I don't know. In the interest of getting through the list, I will say I will come back to it. Okay. These are the ones I make fun of. Radiation attack. What does that mean? Who knows? Radioactive. What does that mean? Who knows? Um, Range attack. This obviously needs more information. Gains a ranged attack. Let's say 1d6. I guess there could be clarity like, what do I mean by gains an attack? Do they get to make 2 attacks per round? Or is it just an option for them? Um, Let me write that down. Gains X attack. Does this mean it's an option? Or they get a bonus attack per round of this? I don't know what my assumption would be. I think you could interpret it either way. Regains 1d3 HP per round. That's a good power. That's an annoying power. Reverse gravity at will, one at a time. It's good. Shout out to our current combat where we are in the middle of a reverse gravity spellcast, or I guess miscast result. Silence is fine. Slow once every 10 rounds. That's a weird. None of their other results are like limited, like rate limited like this. Because usually they say one at a time in their list. And they had like a slow on hit thing, didn't they? Where was the other slow in this? Oh. Oh yeah, Psionic Scream. Can't wait for the next session to finally happen so we can just immediately die from falling damage. Yeah, uh-huh. I mean, especially my character who is also being grabbed by a skeleton, flaming death hug skeleton, and is gonna be body slammed into the ground. Not looking forward to that in particular. That whole situation is very funny. Uh, for Quinny's benefit, we were in the maybe it's good you're mainly in case when there are things like reverse gravity. Well, it can be good. Um, unfortunately, I'll tell you what happened. Um, we're we're in the middle of this combat. Um, and there was a miscast that happened basically. And the miscast result was that from the enemy was that they cast reverse gravity around themselves, which affected my character and like two or three other characters also. Um, now being in caves is a good point. Unfortunately for this particular combat, um, we have gone through a magical doorway and have ended up in a place with floating islands, which is decidedly not cave-like, and is a bad place to be exposed to falling damage for sure. So, you know, looking forward to just being like yeeted off the side of a cliff and having my character who's been alive for like a year and a half just be incinerated. That'll be very cool. That's so scary too. Like we've done that to enemies in that fight. You're just throwing them off the ledge. Like you'd just be fucked. We've gotta thank our DM for not being mean. Slow once every 10 rounds is interesting. I want to take a look back at that because in the original context of this table, slow wouldn't have scaled right. So for our system, it should probably be not that, and something else instead. Spell spell turning. I do not think is searching the word spell in these rules. Christ. Um, spell turning isn't a spell that we have, but I think we have something similar. We have Witch Lamp Aura, which I'm pretty sure is reflect spells. Witch Lamp Aura. Yeah, we'll just do that instead. I don't think anyone has ever cast Witch Lamp Aura. Cool spell though. Spell casting as magic user of 2d6 levels, random spells. I think I would rather change this to be spell casting as magic user of hit die level, which does make it worse, but that's fine. Mm, yeah, I don't think that needs further clarification. Um, Spore Cloud. Infested with spores. This leads to questions like, what is the effect of that? And also, is this like an always thing? this makes me think how I'm always like I always get annoyed when not like really annoyed, but uh when people are always asking for like the clarifications on the wording and stuff of these spells and shit. And I swear that it's mostly not my fault. They're just written like this. Um Stinking Cloud is a spell that we have. Cool, that's good. Should probably clarify that it doesn't affect the creature. I think that's kind of an assumption, but people would probably ask. Stone shape at will. Oh, I thought that was cooler than it was. This is probably. I can look in lamentations. This is probably like shape stone. Yeah. Yeah, you can shape a stone. I thought it was like transforming into like a stone form. That would be cool. Um, but that's not what that means. Yeah, that's also sort of how I felt trying to run some of the Veins creatures. Yeah. 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 It's just a symptom of OSR in general. And like part of it is good in the sense that like you want people to like add their own stuff to stuff and like make it their own, but like it's also just kind of annoying. But on the downside, like that's how you end up with like the Bat House Rules document, this document being like a million pages or whatever. Um, because there's just too much you can say. Um, but yeah, I distinctly remember like running in the like the first couple. Yeah, a really cool flavor, but I wish there were more concrete descriptions sometimes. Yeah. Okay, well that's a problem in veins also in particular. I don't think that's I don't think it's as much of a problem as some people, but you probably have heard the discourse about how like the races are basically just cool descriptions and then there's nothing like concrete, which like is very OSR in the sense that like again, I think is fine in the sense that it's like it's just like inspiring you and you are coming up with it, but it also does make it annoying to run sometimes unless you're really into like world building and coming up with this stuff on your own, which sometimes I'm in the mood for, but sometimes I am not. I mean, I'm definitely not as much of a world builder as other people we know. Um, Obviously, I'm more of a systems person. Um, this So anyway, this one's gonna need to change because I don't think we have this spell. Yeah, I can't imagine how I would deal with the Darrow, for example. Yeah. Um, the Darrow, for context, for Quinny, are like this really wacky, like meta race. I don't even remember them. That's that one, right? They're like kind of robotic and like I don't know. They're it's just like weird meta nonsense mostly. And I think the answer is that you would just like think about it for 5 minutes and then wing it, and it would probably be fine. Um, and just like talk like how they talk in the book. Um, but like yeah, I don't know. Well, I was gonna say I distinctly remember running like the earlier Lamentations modules that I ran. Um, the monster descriptions for like the ghouls and stuff would just say like all usual undead immunities and like Just so unhelpful. Like, what do you mean by that? Can you spell it out in at least one place what you mean? Like, I know maybe you're trying to write it in like a system agnostic way, but I don't know. It is, yeah, that's definitely the downside of OSR a lot of the time. Also, anyway, I was gonna say I like my misinterpretation so much of turning into like a stone mech form that like maybe there should be a spell for that. That sounds cool as hell. Um, and like I just said, I'm more willing to add spells now that the table is not gross. This is a really funny effect, just nesting summon. I think I've seen this before in this table, and it is very funny. We'll keep that exactly the same. Swallow whole on a natural 20 or hitting by 10 or more. I know I was just bitching about there being no explanation for stuff, but I actually like this one. Sometimes you just gotta be like, DM, figure it out. And I think in this case, it's funny enough that it's worth keeping. And also, like, it's also the kind of thing that is difficult to write rules for because, like, how you would deal with being swallowed whole by a monster very much depends on, like, what the monster is, right? So, anyway, cool effect. Symbol, one type randomly determined at will. That one works with our system and is a perfectly fine effect. Telekinesis. That could tie into the ERP table. You're so right. All right, I'm writing that one down for the future. God, trying to write an ERP version of Summon. Ugh! Needlessly crunchy ERP systems. That's what you would get if I wrote one. Too many fucking tables, man. Oh, Christ. Yeah, telekinesis is cool. We don't have teleportation as a spell, for sure. But we could just reword this to like teleport 20 feet once per round. Like that's the same thing. This is just the words time stop, which is a spell, admittedly. But like, how many times can it be cast? Good question. Should probably be only be able to cast time. You probably shouldn't be able to cast time stop at will. That sounds maybe bad. Ooh, transmute flesh to stone on a successful hit. That's a cool one. Did we talk about in flesh to stone what happens if it's cast on a person? Oh wait, actually, do we have flesh to stone? We must, right? We use stone to flesh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We do. That's what it's for. Okay. Yeah. So the save is built in. All right, PJ. your comment is really funny because I am like 100% sure that I have gotten the exact same Magic the Gathering rules interactions videos recommended to me in my YouTube feed. I've been watching a bunch of unusual entity rules interaction videos lately, and I've really come to appreciate how well thought out the Magic comprehensive rules are. Yeah, Magic is crazy. Magic has really good rules. Is it? Hold on. What are the videos you've been watching? You tell me. This will be easier, so I don't have to dig through it. Yeah, the Magic rules are really good. Unfortunately, we are not going to approach that. That is not the goal. But Magic is a masterpiece of a game, so shoutouts to DDR. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Those are the videos that have been recommended to me. I'm pretty confident. Um, and I watched like one or two of them, and they were really good. But then I was like, damn, I kind of don't want my entire YouTube recommended feed to become Magic videos. So I started watching them. Spooky, spooky internet synchronicity. Yeah, anyway, what I was gonna say here is that the saves are built into Flesh and Stone, so we don't need anything additional here. Rock to Mud. Yeah, we do have Rock to Mud. That's fine. Valuable Innards. This is the first one on the list that has not been beneficial to the monster. It's interesting. Um, and more like a third of my feed was magic anyway, so not much difference here. Yeah, I don't know where it came from for me, but like one day, yeah, I just like every fifth video was like a magic video. I was like, I do like magic, but like I don't know where this came from. Fair enough though. I actually started playing Magic the Gathering Arena recently because some of my other friends wanted to get into it. Um, that's been fun, though my decks aren't good, and it's really sad going against people that have good decks because I just get wrecked. Uh, with Magic is nothing but confusing to me. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's complicated for sure, but like also you play Warhammer, so like I'm sure you could I'm sure you could handle it if you had someone explain it to you for sure. Um, yeah, it's a really good game. And I think if you have experience with any other kind of collectible card game, like a lot of the like main ideas transfer, right? Because most of them are based on magic. Um, but yeah, it could definitely be dense to get into. It definitely is dense to get into, like with all of the keywords and stuff to learn. A lot of terminology. I barely know Warhammer rules, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's fair. I'm imagining, isn't there like a really big rules booklet for Warhammer? I don't know why I think that, but I'm kind of imagining that. Warhammer Rules Manual. It is kind of like a thick book. I guess D&D has like the same size book, so whatever. Anyway, Um, Ventriloquism at will. I don't think we have the spell Ventriloquism. You also need the battle tome for your army rules? Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. It's a lot of rules. You'd be fine in Magic. Take a shot every time I say, I don't think we have this spell. Easy to forget, like, how much I changed the spell list from Lamentations. I changed it a lot. It took a really long time. Also, they don't have this spell. So again, what are they talking about? What is ventriloquism? How is ventriloquism in their mind different from mimicry? I guess you can make it. Oh, I might have can. I guess the difference would be that ventriloquism you make can make come from like a location that's not you. Mimicry, you can only mimic voices from yourself. But like, come on, do those need to be separate? This is why we just have audible glamour, which is, I guess, for just ventriloquism. But we've already used that in effect, so it's going to be changed. Victims rises on dead. That's cool. I'm not going to change that at all. Um, hey, we're almost to the end of the table. Let's fucking go. Okay. So the vulnerable 2X suffers from the same things I don't like about the immune 2X, which is I don't really like these because we don't really. Ooh, that was the wrong color. We kind of avoid the concept of damage types, and I would like to continue to avoid the concept of damage types. The only wrinkle in that is that, and I've been thinking about this, is that we do have some of that in resist cold and resist fire, but our wording here is a little bit more vague and less like cold damage. Cold based magical or breath attacks is less of a keyword, I feel like. Um, this also works the same way as the vulnerable thing, where the vulnerable thing in the summon spell that we were just looking at, it adds 1 point of damage to the monster per dice. In resist cold and resist fire, do that in reverse. They subtract 1 point of damage per dice. So I kind of like the effect because it like merges with that. Um, so I think just the wording here, anyway, is what I'm getting at. Is what needs to change. Um, I'm just gonna copy the wording. I think we can keep it for cold and fire because those are common enough. Fire more than cold, obviously, but cold is pretty common, I think. Um, Electricity, though, like what would cause electricity damage? Not a lot of things. Like some spells, but like maybe like 4 spells, but that's it. And magic weapons. So like some magic weapons, but anyway. So I think that one will need to change. I'm gonna I'm gonna just copy this terminology because I'm okay with this for cold and fire. I guess there is a possible like a low chance that you could roll like incompatible powers on this table. Like nothing would stop you from rolling immune to cold based damage and vulnerable to cold based damage. which is kind of silly. I guess you can add a note. Um, if the GM determines that the set of powers rolled are incompatible vulnerable to cold, one or more may be re-rolled. I think it's fine to have a small note like that. This is how, again, the documents become like 200 pages long. Um, vulnerable to cold iron is sort of the same category as vulnerable to wood. And also, like, vulnerable to cold iron versus vulnerable to metal. Same exact problem as what was happening in the immunities. Like, do we need all these? No. No, we don't. Why is there vulnerable to cold iron, vulnerable to metal, vulnerable to physical attacks, and vulnerable to silver? Like, I don't know. I think these can be condensed. And again, vulnerable to wood is just nothing. And then wall of fire is fine, and web is fine. Wow. Holy shit, we went through the whole table. That took so much longer than I thought it would. Holy shit. That is me constantly working on this RPG. We didn't even make a lot of changes that we're supposed to make. We mostly just highlighted the changes that I wanted to think about making. Oh, summon, why? I guess it is a D100 table. It's a pretty big thing. Let me look ahead. I want to look ahead. I also need to go to the bathroom real quick. So, let me take a break for a quick second, and I will come back. Um, I will say I will probably not stream for that much longer. I don't really want to stop right now because I feel like we're kind of on a good roll here. And I can keep going. But yeah. Anyway, I'll figure that out when I get back. Um, but it has been fun so far. Thank you for coming, Quinny, and thank you for stopping by, PJ. I appreciate it a lot. It's been fun talking to you. But I'm not going yet. I'll be right back. Alright, see y'all in a sec. Hello, I'm back. Okay, where were we? We just finished going through this table. Cool. Yeah, I think I probably shouldn't stream for too much longer, but I can keep going for a little bit longer, but probably won't do anything major. I do want to count how many of these things I said I would need to edit, because I am just kind of curious, because it seems like at least half. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 24, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 6, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. I'm going to be off in like 30 minutes anyway. Yeah, I'm probably going to wrap up by then. Obviously. Yeah, I think over half of these we made edits to, or I said I wanted to make edits to. Um, I think I just want to, I want to look ahead to what we need to do in the spell, left, and think about it a little bit, and then either the next stream, I can work on this like off stream also, and like that's fine, obviously. Um, the tricky part is getting motivation to work on it off stream. Um, so yeah, I do want to look ahead to what we need to do. Um, whoa, that became tiny. Um, okay, so we got through the table, minus the details, which is fine. We can do that either next time or I'll do it off stream, like I said. And then the next part is the last part is the domination roll, which I don't think we are going to need to change that much. We just need to make a decision on whether we want to keep the thaumaturgic circle modifiers and the sacrifice modifiers and what we're going to do with that. Oh, and we probably will want to edit these tables. Yeah. Um, and then the other thing that's going to take a while after that, we do that, which will probably be a whole stream in itself, assuming I stream it, are we're going to have to edit those abstract forms that I touched on earlier, some of which will need to be heavily changed, or, I mean, just replaced entirely. And there are 10 of those. That'll probably take a while. Um, but then after all of that, we'll be done, so... God. You know, when I set off to do Summon, I thought it would be like a 2-part stream at most. Um, but would definitely take me like 4 streams to do this one fucking spell. That's fine. It's fun. Um, yeah, cool. Um, there is a wild mix of art styles in this book. Yeah, the book Lamentations of the Flame Princess is a cool system. Um, the art in Lamentations is really cool. Um, who does it? I don't know. Assume it says somewhere. Um, wonder how this compares to the time it took to write it originally. James Raggy wrote this spell in like 15 minutes. He wrote it on a lunch break. I guarantee. No, I'm sure it took I'm sure it took a long time, but that's a fair point. I mean, I'm just editing the table also. And like the format, so I'm sure it took forever. Um, but yeah, the art in this book is cool. A lot of it is like edgy, like what I was saying before. A lot of nudity, a lot of gore. Um, but some of it's really cool. yeah, like the series of combat images is really cool, and then it ends with being super edgy, and then yeah, wacky stuff. It's a cool system. Yep, nudity. Can I show that on Twitch? And it's probably fine. Anyway, art that's really cool is in Veins of the Earth, which is the setting in Lamentations of the Flame Princess that we're running our game in. This is the underground one. Scrap Princess is the artist for this, and I really like Scrap Princess's art. It's all this like sketch style stuff. Anyway, RPGs are cool. Um, and I should read more RPG books. Um, what was I doing? What was I saying? Um, completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go into wrap up, I think. Um, so this has been an awesome stream. Thanks for coming once again, Queen PJ. I appreciate it. It's been really cool. Um, I we made good progress, and I went for like the whole like 3.5 hours without taking a break, which is pretty cool. Because usually I get burned out in these streams like an hour and a half in, because it is draining. But I think having people to talk to helped a lot, so that was cool. Um, I think that, yeah, this is the only stream that I have planned for this week. Normally, I would like to stream on Sundays, but I've got stuff going on Sunday, unfortunately. So there probably won't be another stream until next Thursday, which is so long from now. I don't know. Part of me wants to say like I might be able to sneak one in on another day, but like that's probably fine to take a break occasionally. So maybe I'll do that. Um, Next stream will probably be Alan Wake, because I want to go back to that. But next time we go back to RPG stuff, um, yeah, again, I will either be finishing the edits of this table if I don't do it off stream, or we'll be moving on to the next part. Yes, don't worry, we will be returning to Alan Wake. I do appreciate you coming, Quinny, to the RPG stream. Um, Very cool. Glad you came, as always, as usual. Um, but yeah, we will be returning to Alan Wake, and I am looking forward to that. It's a cool game. And I also I've heard from my friends that have played Alan Wake that there are cool parts of Alan Wake coming up in the near future that we will probably hit next stream. So I am looking forward to that. I had fun, even if it was confusing at times. Good. I'm glad because like I've said, like I think this is like a cool thing to stream. I feel like I don't know. There's probably not a ton of it, but I'm just terrified that it is just like dense and unparsable to watch. Um, and you know that might be true, but I'm glad I'm glad you had fun despite that. Um, cool. Hell yeah, we take those. Um, well, I will. At least one big fun part should be possible to reach in one stream. Yeah, I think that's. I haven't heard anything about it, but I have heard that there is a big fun part coming up. So I am looking forward to it. Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I will probably stop here. Still gotta play quick games myself, so I probably won't be around for that, but had fun watching today. Yeah! Oh no, I totally get that, PJ. I also don't watch single player stuff that I plan on playing. Um, it's been a good experience. Uh, and yeah, no worries. I appreciate you coming for this. Um, and PJ, I guess I'll just talk directly to you. Um, if you want to I don't know if you have a Twitter. If you have a Twitter and you want to follow me on Twitter, I post my schedules on there. But if you don't, I usually stream on Thursdays and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, and Mondays sometimes at 8:30 Eastern. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, cool. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to next week. Looking forward to continuing this. I will post the schedule for next week on like Sunday or Monday. I was gonna. Yeah, no. Follow me on Twitter because if you have a Twitter, because I've been posting my schedules there, and that's like the best way for me to do it. Because I don't want to like spam group chats, like I said. I mean, I could, but whatever. Um, yeah, but it's probably just gonna be the stream on Thursday. Alan Wake next week. But I'll post schedule on Sunday or Monday on Twitter. Um, or yeah, you can just ask me also. Yeah, that's why I made a stream specific Discord server. Yeah, I 100% get that. I also, yeah. That's why I made the Twitter. I don't feel like I don't have enough viewers to justify making a Discord server. Um, maybe if there were more than like, a couple of people who stopped in from time to time, but yeah, that's fair. Anyway, yeah, cool. Thanks so much for coming, you guys. I will see you maybe on Thursday. Odds are low that I get a random stream in, but it is possible. And if so, I will post on Twitter, and it would be at 8 p.m. probably someday, but it probably won't happen. Yeah, otherwise, I'll be posting my schedules, and that's it. All right. Have a good night, y'all. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. Yeah, see you next week. Bye. All right. Have a good night.